"Where's your knife, Rush? Why don't you slit the paper along those cracks?" suggested Mona. "No, let Randy," said Rush honorably, unsheathing the wicked-looking blade of his scout knife. "After all, she discovered it." Rush was wonderful, Randy thought. Almost trembling with excitement, she slit the ancient paper along the crack upward from the floor. But she wasn't tall enough to reach along the top. "It's a door, all right," whispered Rush, as though an enemy lurked beyond the partition. "But it's nailed shut. I can feel the nail heads under the paper. Here, hand over the knife, Randy. I'm taller. I'll do the top." "Think how long it's been shut," Mona said, awed. "The pictures on this part of the wall are the oldest in the office. I've noticed that before. There's a date down here above this newspaper engraving that says 1875. "What do you think's behind that door, Mona?" said Oliver, looking a little worried. "Ah, that's a question, Fatso," Rush told him. "Maybe gold, maybe jewels, maybe a rat trap, maybe nothing." Not anything alive?" Oliver looked relieved. "After almost 70 years? Not likely." "Maybe a ghost," said Randy ghoulishly. "Maybe a skeleton hanging from the rafters." "Mona?" Oliver's fat hand crept into hers. "They're just joking, darling. Of course, there's nothing like that." But she didn't sound too sure herself. "Funny there doesn't seem to be a trace of a latch or a handle of any kind," said Rush, feeling along the right side of the door with his long, sensitive fingers. "But I think maybe if I dig a hole just here with the point of my knife, I might just possibly. Yes, it is. Look, there's a keyhole." "A keyhole." "You look first, Randy," Rush said nobly. "I'm almost scared to," Randy confessed. But then she knelt down and glued her eye to the keyhole while the others held their breaths. "For heaven's sake!" she exclaimed. "What do you see?" They all asked it at the same time. "Are we ever dumb?" said Randy. "Why, what do you see?" Oliver was dancing up and down with impatience. "I see a window," Randy replied slowly. "I can see the spruce branches beyond it." "What else?" "Just floor and some wall. It's got blue-flowered wallpaper on it. But are we ever dumb?" "I don't see why," said Rush, gently but firmly pushing her out of the way so that he could get a good look himself. "Well, because we know there are dormer windows all around the roof," Randy explained. 12 of them there are, 3 on each side. You can walk around the house outdoors and count them if you want to. Now, just look at the office. How many windows do you see?" 7, said Mona. "I catch on. 3 windows on the west wall, 2 apiece on the north and south. None at all on the east. Just plain wall and pasted-up pictures." She knocked on the wall. "And listen how hollow it sounds. Why didn't we ever notice?" "Unobservant," Rush told her. "And dumb, just like Randy says. Very, very dumb." "But not even Father noticed," Mona said. "Not even Cuffy." "And you can't call them dumb." Oliver was shocked at the mere idea. "No, you certainly can't," Rush agreed. Suddenly he stood up. "Listen, kids. I'm going to get a hammer and a pair of pliers. We've got to get this door open. Oliver, you go find the library paste. Mona and Randy, you'll have to patch the places I tear in the paper. This must be kept secret. Do you understand?" They all understood perfectly. There had never been any doubt in their minds about that. "Because who knows what we'll find when we open it," Rush continued darkly. "We might find a skeleton at that, or a torture chamber, or a ghost," repeated Randy, as a chill ran over her scalp. Oliver looked dubious. "Ghosts," scoffed Mona. "Honestly, Randy, and at your age." Nevertheless, her cheeks were pink, her eyes shining with excitement. "I move we take a vow of secrecy, a blood vow," Rush said. "What do you think?" "Oh, yes, a blood vow," cried Randy with a rapturous leap. "The only other blood vow we ever took was when we swore not to tell Cuffy or Father that we'd been exposed to whooping cough that time." "Well, they just would have worried. And anyway, we never got it," said Rush, as if that had justified the act. "Now, who has a pin?" Mona had a safety pin in the ripped hem of her skirt. Providentially, she hadn't mended it days ago when she was supposed to. "But first it has to be sterilized," she insisted from the depth of her first-aid wisdom. So they sterilized the pin in a match flame. Of course, Mona knew that the whole performance was nonsense, but there was something rather solemn about the way they pricked their thumbs and made a scarlet X on a piece of paper opposite their names. Mona and Randy, and Rush, that is. Oliver was firm in declining to yield his blood to the enterprise, so finally they had to let him use red watercolor instead. "Though it's not really legal and binding," Rush warned him. "I don't see why it matters," Oliver maintained stoutly. "Just two different kinds of juice, that's all. You can't tell the difference on the paper." "But it's the principle of the thing," Rush argued weakly. "Oh, well, nuts. I'm going down to get the pliers and hammer now, and we'll get to work."